What's up, y'all? It's T-Tar, and today, now that the trailer's out, Riddler Coup has tweeted a few teasers for stuff beyond the trailer, so we're gonna cover those. But I wanted to make this video talking about Kieran really might die in the Indigo Disk. Now, I talked about this earlier. The moment we saw the key art for the ending of the Indigo Disk, and you notice, let me pull it up. Oh, it's so beautiful. And you notice that we have the core cast down here. Us, Carmine, Briar, and this man, and he's the only one with the shattered crystal. I said if this wasn't a Pokemon game, that's an indication Kieran is dying or he's not coming back, to put it more softly, which are terms Game Freak can put it in. You know, they don't show death on screen, of course. So Coos tweeted some things that are relevant to what I'm about to talk about, but first, let's do a little experiment. So I want you to look closely at Kieran here, right? The feeling you get when he has his hair tied and his arm out there summoning Tropigus is this feeling of vengeance and anger, which goes hand in hand with Carmine's expression, her wanting her brother to snap out, and it gives you the vibe that when this is all said and done, maybe we save Kieran. And maybe the evil shakes off. You know, it's like the art is setting up for him to be able to come back home, to be saved and bring his mind back. You know, look, he's all shattered right now. To unshatter that crystal, put him back together so he can come home. So that's the feeling we get, right? And it almost feels like you could save him at the end of the game. But I want you to try something out. So I want you to imagine that we know Kieran dies at the end of the Indigo Disk. And if not dies, he just never comes back. And I'll explain what that can mean. If you look at this image, pretending we already played this and know he dies, looking back at this, his expressions look different now. It's like a mix of both anger and vengeance, but also a new feeling of sadness and knowing he went too far, but there's no turning back now. You see that sweat dripping? This is like the sweat dripping of self-doubt. You see that, right? He knows he's wrong, but he's gone down such a dark path, he won't allow himself on the other side. And then you zoom out, it could also be that the crystal is shattering because these are his last moments. This is everyone's last memory of Kieran when he's gone crazy and did this, and then he disappears forever / dies. So think about it, right? The start of Kieran's story was comparing it with Ogerpon. What Kieran saw in Ogerpon is that they're the same thing. They're the same creature. They want friends, but they feel lonely inside. But something drastic is different between them, because Ogerpon wants friends, but has to live alone. But Kieran, he starts to make friends, and then he chooses, no, I want to be alone. Think about it, especially after he's Blueberry Champion, he has everyone's respect. The Elite Four aren't gonna downplay him. But especially, you're still his friend, but he doesn't want you, and he doesn't want anyone. I've been thinking about this a lot because this key art is so cool. It's like Kieran is choosing the path to walk alone, unlike how we started with Ogerpon, and he's walking towards the bad ending. Look at this key art. That's Kieran reaching the ultimate bad ending where he can't come back from. Think about it. Why would you even want Kieran saved here? What is Game Freak gonna do? Make him pop up in another Pokemon game? They're not gonna do that. Maybe as a cameo for 5 seconds. But it's so much more meaningful to just have a villain that loses. And that's it. And there's no redeeming him. You might as well kill him and show Pokemon fans that you did this big glorious setup and you had the balls to go through with it. Now when we're in Gen 10 and Black and White remakes, we can look back at the Indigo Disk and remember, yeah, that's the arc where Kieran went crazy and somehow got Tropigus on his side before the man got murked. Not, oh, Kieran is still alive somewhere in the world, but remember when he did all that Tropigus stuff? Game Freak put the nail in his coffin, and then look how hard the shattered hit looks now. Especially because the crystals, they're a reflection. So it's like you can't even reach the actual person. So when Carmine's looking up at Kieran, she's all she's seeing is a reflection, layers away from actually being able to be reached. So yeah, in terms of how Kieran could die, yeah, he could just die. But, you know, Game Freak's not going to show something like that on screen. So it could just be something like, after all this is said and done, Kieran just doesn't come back and the game doesn't explain that. And that's a soft way to put that he dies. Or you could try to get super technical with it and say that if Tropigus is a dream Pokemon, that Kieran, listen, Kieran is conscious. This whole world isn't happening to him. The start happened to him when we lied to him. But after that, he's continuously chosen to keep taking the bad paths. You know, to want vengeance on you. Even after we beat him as Blueberry Champion, he chose, nah, sucker, I don't want friends. I'm gonna go down and release Tropigus. So he has made himself believe he wants to be alone. So much, maybe Tropigus grants that to him at the very end. Maybe that's the implication. Whatever that means. to grant him being alone. But you know, you got Briar here. Clearly, this is the ultimate final lore drop and climax to reveal just what Tropigus is about, especially when it's gonna turn into the 19th type. They're probably gonna name drop what it's called. It would be a great way to end it if it hits you hard, the same way Sada and Tor go to the past and future. If Kieran don't come back, and Tropigus did it. And y'all, if Kieran dies in this, do you know how hyped we will be for future Pokemon games, knowing Game Freak is capable of freaking having fun like this? This whole art gives a cool feel to just show this is Kieran's demise. Alright, well y'all let me know what you think about that. Now we're gonna go to Cou's tweet. So here's Coup posting the key art himself, and he's outing the exact things we talked about in the last episode, that Kieran is the culprit. Kieran's the one causing this Tropigus mayhem. So someone says, honestly, I love that Pokemon recently hasn't been afraid to be a little dark. Scarlet and Violet already had the professors die. The fact that this teaser has Kieran's crystal being cracked, is he gonna die? And so Coup says, yeah, that cracked crystal effect intrigues players. Would you save him? Now, you know, Cou's not gonna spoil the ending if he actually dies or not, but Cou's also pointing out the oddity of that cracked crystal. And then he says, would you save him? See, it starts to get weird here, you know, because Cou's tweeted another version of this. So would you save him? It kind of makes you feel like you have the option of, the game's not gonna split that far. But there was also something else he tweeted about, you know, Arven, Penny, Nimona, who would you save? They're not even in this final part of the game. So this must happen on like the surface of Area Zero. And by the time we get to the very bottom, they're not even in the picture. It's just these dudes, these 4. He also says, looking forward to you two teaming up. I don't know what that means. It could be, I don't think we're teaming up against Tropigus. That's so stupid. Like he releases Tropigus and then he's like, let me help you fight him. That's not what the picture is showing. What I think who's saying is, could you imagine, what if it's something like this? So on our final visit down to Area Zero, what if Kieran is coming with us and it's at the end that he betrays and then awakens Tropigus? You know what I mean? So like we're just returned to Area Zero on a casual visit to uncover what's deep underneath. So we're teaming up with Kieran and Carmine, Arven, Pona, and Briar. And then only after we make it to the very core, Kieran switches sides. So only for a short moment, you're teaming up with tied-haired Kieran. Someone does say to Coup, am I reading this post wrong? Or are you trying to imply Kieran does die at some point? And he says nope. He doesn't mean nope as in Kieran's not dying. He's not spoiling the ending of the game. He just means that's not what he's trying to imply in this photo, because he doesn't want to spoil it. Y'all, Game Freak, hashtag kill Kieran. It makes him cooler. Y'all, this the nail in the coffin, okay? And I mean, I'm happy about this. I mean, I asked for it. Someone asks Coup, any hints as to why they didn't show anything about Arven, Penny, and Nimona? Or Sada and Tor in any of the trailers? They're the only characters from the main game's not shown, which is true, right? They're not in any trailers. Even Gita got in. And remember I said in the key art, yo, they're not here. If we're doing this giant raid against Tropigus, I know it's supposed to be us, Nimona, Penny, Arven against Jumbo Tropigus. But since this is the cast shown to us, imagine it's us, you know, a useless Carmine and Briar, and then our Kieran and Miraidon, who act like independently because they're a 7th Pokemon anyway. And that's the Terra raid. Coup says about Arven, Penny, Nimona, Sada, and Toro, they were snubbed actually. So snubbed means ignored. So it's like Coup is trying to say, yeah, there is no Jumbo Terra raid with the 4 friends against Tropigus. It might actually be the one I said. And yeah, to add to this, the last thing Coup tweeted is the useless duo, and he put Carmine and Briar. I already knew they were useless. I mean, Carmine not supposed to be useless. She's strong. Well, she was at least as strong as Kieran before he got his haircut tied. How would Carmine turn into the damsel in distress? But I do like it, you know, so if these dudes were to be part of the final Terra raid, it means we have to pull all the weight. They're just support cast. They might even just have support moves on their Pokemon. We don't even know if Briar can fight, but she do got eyes like Bramblegast, so maybe she just has one freaking Bramblegast. And, you know, it just has support moves. But she's not even there to help us fight, y'all. She just want to witness Tropigus. She might even forget to make a move. Yo, if it's a Terra raid battle, imagine Briar's there and she just doesn't make a move. The timer just goes down, only 3 people are actually making moves. She's just infatuated with Tropigus. Alright, y'all, so I'm gonna ask y'all in the comments. Do you think Kieran will die in this DLC or disappear forever? As in, he doesn't come back? Or do you think he survives? Obviously, we all know he should not come back. But what do you think will happen? What do you feel in your soul? Make sure to shank that like button. We got more to talk about. So I might upload a second video later today. I think I will. I'll see y'all there. Take care.